right, Michelle, we have sadly reached the end of our holiday season, but what a great way to end it with Christmas in Connecticut. This is a movie we have not talked about at all together. We've never watched it together. I personally saw it for the first time in recent years, but this time was the true, really sitting down and watching it start to finish without interruptions. What did we think?
I watched this movie for the first time 2 Christmases ago, 2 or 3 Christmases ago, and I didn't really love it. And I was kind of disappointed that I didn't like it. And then I must have rewatched it again last year because when I went to rewatch it for this, I had bought it, but I don't remember walking away saying, oh, this is the best.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, third time, I watched it this week and it moved way up the list for me. I loved
Yeah.
it. I feel like I had a really, really great experience and found so many wonderful things that are like very me, I think also that has cemented this as a must rewatch every Christmas going forward.
I feel the exact same way because I remember the first time I watched this, it was an afterthought. I was like, it was fine. I didn't love it, but this time I really enjoyed it. And I just kept thinking the whole time, like, Michelle, if she hasn't seen this already, or if she has this time, I feel like she's gonna have some really good things to say. It feels like a very Michelle movie. I feel like this is a great movie to watch almost if you had like a schedule down of okay, once a week I'm gonna watch like a Christmas movie. I feel like the last couple years we've been saying this, but I've been going through kind of like repeat. I have like my repeat movies that I've been watching every year, but I would love to like watch this and then like the day later or the week after watch It's a Wonderful Life because they're kind of like in the same time frame, have very different tones and very different vibes. And I won't say that I obviously don't like this better than It's a Wonderful Life, but it just makes me feel like part of this time period. You are just so connected to this decade for whatever reason. But I was thinking it's the tone and so many of like the things that are like witty and probably not even supposed to be funny. If we had grown up watching this movie, I just know this would have been one of those where we like repeat a lot of the lines that are not funny to anyone else but us.
I completely agree with you. There are so many funny lines in this movie, especially toward the end. I was writing them so fast that I couldn't even get down who was
It was
saying
actually my
them.
biggest section.
And speaking of biggest sections, I think we just need to say this before we get into what do we love, just kind of as a big statement. I think that this is the most food forward movie we've ever covered on the show. Right?
I thought that right immediately. So we have not really lived up to the table part of our podcast as much as we wanted to, besides our, of course, dinner party that we throw. It takes a lot of work and we do it every episode. But yeah, we haven't really done like a food focused season. And if we do, this one is definitely going to be included on the playlist because
Yes.
it's all about hosting and cooking magazines. Those trends have not died. It's my entire Instagram algorithm. So I feel like there has not been much that has changed since the 50s.
All right, let's get into
Yeah.
what do we love. And if you don't mind, because I feel like this is a good transition to what you just said, I think the number one thing that I love about this movie is that even though it's set in 1945, there were so many things about this movie that felt modern.
Yes.
And I was so impressed from things like there are a lot specific lines to little moments, but big picture wise, this is like a pretty feminist, we can call it that, maybe. I mean, feminist for 1945.
Yes.
It's a good story for the girls. I love that she works at a magazine. I feel like we're almost like setting the stage for all of the 90s rom-coms to come.
Yeah. It really is, and I wonder. I mean, I'm sure there's other movies of this time. If we're just dipping our toe into classics that people, as rom coms have come out, that they need to pull from. But this would be like a really good older example to get some inspiration from of the time. I think it's very modern, but they just really make you fall in love with Elizabeth Lane like the minute that you meet her. I think that she's such like an imperfect character, but she's so wonderful and so human, and you feel like you know her. And that's usually like a direct pull for me for most movies. Like I would want to hang out with her. Or I would have wanted to be her during that time period for sure. Over everyone else, any other woman that we met in this movie.
That first scene where we're introduced to her is fantastic. I love the way she's sitting. I love what she's wearing. She doesn't have time for breakfast. This is again like it feels like a very of today thing
Yeah.
until Felix
I
comes
never
in
really knew
and
what she was eating in that scene, but
I'm pretty sure Felix said it was sardines, which was made zero sense, but
all
I
I know
loved it.
is that we all deserve a Felix to come into our apartment and drop us off some. I think he made her like plum pudding or something
And a
crazy.
mushroom omelet.
Mushroom omelet, yes.
What a
What a
pal.
gem. I guess this is jumping ahead, but like
Yeah.
there are so many thrown in mentions throughout the movie that aren't like, I'm not saying they're vague in the sense that they are leaving holes in the plot, but more so they're opening up room for me to want to throw ideas in the idea jar because I want to know Felix and Elizabeth's like friendship and how they met each other and how she like wooed him into basically helping her write this magazine. I want to know like how she got this job. I want to know Jefferson's backstory because he just throws in that he's like a painter and an artist. And I'm like, can we go back in time before the war and before he got abandoned and like just have them meet in New York City somewhere? Because I need this story.
I didn't even write all those things down, but yes, I
The
would
idea
love to know
jar
all those
is
things.
brimming this season. There's actually no more room left. I think that I'm
No.
gonna have to get a second one.
I think we maybe need to start emptying it and doing
Yes.
something with our ideas.
Okay.
It
Fair.
would be more
Maybe
fruitful.
one. Yeah.
I also love that in that first scene that she bought herself a gift. Like she bought herself a fur coat.
Yes.
This is a woman who loves herself, doesn't care. I love that she says like whatever, this is gonna like I'm gonna have to pay this off later. Not a big
I
deal.
think
Like
she says this is gonna take out of my paycheck for the next 6 months. I was like,
yeah.
maybe not the best decision, but I completely support this decision. It's the holidays, it's cold. She only needs that jacket. She doesn't need multiple. She's saving money.
I read it as one of those things that like this coat is going to bring her more opportunities because
Yes.
she's gonna embody a person who wears this fur coat.
I agree.
And
You
it
have
was
to
a power
trust.
move to buy it for herself.
Yeah. And she ends up, not to give anything away for people who haven't seen it, but she ends up getting some raise opportunities that she turns down. So I feel like she's going to be able to use that as leverage for her next job adventures.
Yes. Not that this needs to be an idea jar thing, but just something else for your list. I was unclear. How does she know John Sloan? Did I miss
No idea.
that?
I had that written down. Not even, and there's not that what did we dislike section for today giveaway is not really as much things that I didn't like, but just questions. And that was one of the questions that I had.
Okay.
I don't know. I like to believe that she is a single gal and I think she lives in the city and I think that she probably met him through friends or like different circles that they're in and they just like became friends or had this friendship. But he's comfortable enough that he's proposing to her every day and coming in and out of her apartment. So
yeah. I kind of liked that though, that they
yeah.
kind of have this weird relationship where you know that he, I guess, likes her. I think maybe likes the idea of marrying her more than he likes her.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, he seemed like a happily married man, but I was hoping that she had some history with her with Dud
Oh,
with
with
Dudley.
Dudley, yeah, I liked him a
Yeah,
lot.
he's
He
a
was
sweet
like
man.
a great boss, like a
Yeah.
pal.
He's like, "I'm coming over. If I'm going down, you're going down with me. The ship
Yeah,
is
they were a good team. Like,
Yeah,
I'm glad you liked him as
yeah,
well. Yeah,
yeah.
but that also felt like that's not a person that I would expect to exist in 1945.
Yes, agree. Yeah, and I feel like they were in, like, cahoots again, another unanswered question, but they were in, like or I guess, again, backstory question, like, how did this column even, like, come up as a discussion of, like, just lie? And, like, if she doesn't even have interest in cooking, she's just a really good writer, and she just had this idea, maybe they were friends and he hired her. I don't know. I love all of these, like, backstories that are unanswered because it just makes us be able to think about what happened.
It's so fun that
Yeah.
she's a magazine writer and that they've got this ruse going for
Yeah.
multiple years,
She
and
works remote. She's
she
not in
works
the
remote.
office.
Yes.
I love this. She's got a typewriter.
And I'm assuming I know that Felix's restaurant isn't exactly like a coffee shop, but I imagine that she works there a bunch.
Yeah. I was laughing about the fact that consumerism never ends because the amount of rocking chairs that she was
Yes.
delivered to an entire room, I was like, rocking chairs are the modern day protein powder. I'm just like random brands like sending them to her house or through fan mail. But those are not like cheap ticket items.
No, her
For
fans
sure.
love her.
They do. They
But
want to make sure she's rocking.
Laura, you're spot on in that this relationship between the readers and the writer, the influencer, whoever, it's the same thing.
It
This
is.
is like this
Yeah.
same thing is still existing. And even the lie that she's
Yeah.
telling, I think not that every influencer is lying, but we all know that what we see online is not exactly the truth.
Yeah.
And
I
this is
feel like
just a
yeah, it's just really aged. I guess not well because there's so many issues and I get very passionate about this discussion, but I do think it makes you realize that like human beings just kind of have these certain instincts that have like existed whether or not this was like intentional because it's more of a comedy and it's probably not this deep, but I did love the decision that they made to have Yardley like be a part of the Christmas because it felt like they were literally bringing like the work and like the consumer and like the stress like into your personal life, infiltrating it in a very like
yes.
direct way instead of it just kind of being in the background and something that she has to keep up the lie for in order to like keep her paycheck and keep her coat.
I felt like this also hit on a topic that annoys me and that I'm get passionate about, and that is I really like how they handled this idea of yes, there was this pressure and aim for her to get married to John Sloan, and her boss was really driving that, but none of it felt like it was being driven by the people in Elizabeth's life. No one was saying to her, you really need to get married and you really need to have kids. All of the reasoning had to do with the other people. Obviously, her boss only really wanted all of this to make sure that business was running. John Sloan, I think, really just wanted for him to be in a relationship, but I really, really appreciated that there wasn't this kind of exterior message that women must settle
Yeah.
down and get married and have children.
I think if anything, it was the opposite
Yeah.
of these decisions because it was saying, I don't know, it's complicated, right? Because of the time, if you think about the casual nature of every single marriage or relationship that's brought up in this movie, it's like you meet, you get married, which is very of the time. To your point, like I don't think they're condoning that. I think that it's more like this is actually what was happening. Like people would meet and then they would decide to get married the next day. So I think overall, kind of what we were saying before of like these themes feeling like they connect to modern day. And then also on the flip side, these themes that did exist, I don't feel like it's encouraging it. It actually was like reflecting what was happening. So the tone of the movie and the themes like really worked for me.
I'm hopeful that you might be up for covering this. There's a movie called Picture Perfect that came out in the late 90s that Jennifer Aniston is in. It's definitely not a remake of this, but it has a lot of these same themes where in that movie, everyone does think that in order for her to be taken seriously, she needs to be married and settle down. So she kind of comes up with this fake dating situation in order to help her get ahead in her job. So if we're doing rom-coms next season, maybe we can do that. But I kept thinking about that movie a lot as I was watching this time.
And I think when you think about the structure of like a rom-com, or when you think about a love story in general in films, it really like does touch on the nature of human beings and like what is real. And I think with this movie, it wasn't so much about the messaging of you have to get married to be happy, but it was like she was trying to seek marriage, her job, her personal life, her whatever, all these things like on her terms. It's not that she didn't want a relationship, but she wanted to fall in love with someone naturally. I mean, there's that line at the beginning where we're getting to know her, and she's having dinner with Jonathan, like, I don't want to marry you because I don't love you, and I don't think that would be fair to you. And I felt like that was very earnest. But like these themes of a woman needing a man, or a man needing a woman, or, you know, relationships, anyone needing each other to be happy, we've like evolved that there's less of that and more of that's just innately something that's like part of human desire. And we've been able over time to morph it, and so we're having like representation of different stories and different perspectives, but like it's still this like innate thing for humans that we need like connection and companionship, and that's also a beautiful thing.
Who knew that we were going to get really deep on this episode?
Wow. Oh my god, Connecticut makes us crazy.
All right, well, speaking about connection, I don't know if it's that I really like both these actors and performances, Jeff and Elizabeth, but their chemistry, also for like a 40s movie, was really, really good. This was very well cast.
I can't remember the last time I've seen a movie in modern day where they meet and you're like, oh, they're in love.
Yeah.
They want to have sex right now and they can't. It was instant attraction. There was no hesitation.
Yeah.
She was like, I'll take off my clothes right now. She just dove right in. She did not hold back. Again, like, and if you kind of put It's a Wonderful Life next to this, their first gaze at each other and their first eye lock, this is more about the way that I think the camera work and like things that are shot. But I actually love of this time in black and white movies, like the glistening of eyes when two characters meet each other. Like it's such a beautiful still frame. And we see like so much of that with their interactions throughout this movie.
It feels much more pure than anything that we see today, even though it's black and white and we can't see all of the colors and dimension. I don't know. There's something about the way that they made movies then where they have this almost like a pause that lets you linger there and really see what's happening in between the two characters. And you just really feel it between these two. And I love how they handled this situation, because we've talked about the fake dating trope before. It has happened, and it is continuing to happen so much in movies and in books. And what's interesting about this movie is that the fake dating storyline or the fake marriage storyline is not the one that we're rooting for. But this is kind of like a tricky thing to deal with because it's 1945. She's supposed to be married. We see a little bit of this with Nora, the cook, not the cook, the housekeeper, kind of catches Elizabeth going into John's bedroom. And they're like on the brink of getting married as far as she is concerned, but she's about to quit and never talk to them again because she thinks that they're, being sinful or whatever.
Yeah.
But Elizabeth is in this weird situation where she obviously is like so attracted to this guy, but she's supposed to be married and she can't do anything about it. But I feel like she gets right there on the line and it's so good.
I know. It reminds me sometimes of like French films that I love watching where they just say things exactly how they are. And you're like, this would never work in any other movie or it'd be so cheesy. But there's this part where he says to Yardley, do you think that Elizabeth is actually happy in her marriage? And it's so like matter of fact. And he's known this woman for one day, but he's like automatically just sees her down to her bones. I hate to use this term because everyone's, but just so many green flags for him. Love Jefferson. I have like one red flag, which we can talk about later, but other than that, it's just what a gem.
Not a lot of people from this time have great teeth. He has
Great
wonderful teeth. And I'm usually not like someone who's like a teeth person, but every time he smiled, I was like, I had heart eyes.
I know.
And I think it was like from the beginning when we're first introduced to him. He's at sea, so he's scruffy, yes. And that's a really good look for him.
That was okay. I'm pulling out the notes. Love Jefferson Jones's boat scruff look. I was like, oh my God, he's so hot. He's not showered in probably 30 days.
I would love to get lost at sea with him.
I really wish that the nurse didn't shave him because I wish that he kept it. I feel like we should talk about Mr. Yardley.
Yes. First of all, Alexander Yardley is a fantastic character name for a person who owns a magazine conglomerate.
I mean, he exists today. He is still the same. He was the villain, pretty much, but he was so funny without realizing he was funny. Just such a good character inclusion. Talking about the circulation of the newspaper. I just felt like he was such a good person to like bounce moments off of throughout the movie. Even from like, we talk a lot about character introductions. Like Elizabeth's was so spot on. His was so spot on how we meet him. He's just immediately yelling and screaming at everyone. He's alone. He doesn't want to eat whipped turnips. He loves cold chicken, apparently.
His family doesn't want to spend Christmas with him. No. And he's like, whatever, I'll just go to this other person's house. It'll be fine.
No. He was very cartoonish in that way where you're like, oh, I hate this man because he's horrible, but he's so needed.
I think I also pre-hated him, this actor. It's Sidney Greenstreet. He's in The Maltese Falcon and also in Casablanca. And I don't think that he plays the nicest people.
Yeah.
So I think he's maybe just typecast as like the mean man.
Old man. You mean old man. We love giving shout outs to supporting actors, but between him and we could do an entire section on Felix, but like, what a fun Felix as like the supporting friend instead of like the B cast girlfriend who is just like in the background and is completely there for like exposition. He just like added to everything. He was so not what he would be supposed to be. If anything, he was just like a mention of, oh, this is this chef that writes my recipes for me and he's going to show up and like cook all these meals. But he is like so invested in her finding true love and happiness.
All the details that he's painted with are just lovely, that he loves her so much and is so supportive of her as a friend. I love that he calls her Lishka. It's just darling. He's meddling and he doesn't like to get bossed around. Like he has such a fun personality. I mean, all of this on top of the fact that he owns a restaurant and he is willing to drop everything to go help Elizabeth with this situation. And he brings his little basket.
Restaurant Felix.
I love that basket.
Yeah, I also love the dynamic of like clashing cooks where
yes,
Nora are neck to neck and are very upset that she's infiltrating his kitchen. Just a lot of fun
That's
moments.
fair. There's a lot
Yeah.
of infiltrating into this house.
Yeah. What did you think about just like the overall pacing and tense moments, first comedy? I feel like it worked really well.
This was another play movie. I talked about this in the Family Stone episode at the beginning of this season, where they're in a contained environment. And the same is true in Christmas in Connecticut. And I think that this story is based on a play, so that checks out. But I always love the use of people coming in and out of rooms and doors
Yes.
opening and closing. So there's a lot of movement. This movie really kept my attention. So many funny lines. And the overall Elizabeth's kind of like driving force of what needs to happen. Like she's in this situation that she needs to get out of, and we're invested in it. We don't know what's going to happen. Also, being set in not only a contained, I mean, for most of the movie in this house, but also in a contained period of time. And I liked that there were parts in the kind of the first day that they were there, which I think was Christmas Eve, where I was thinking, how are they going to wrap all this up before Christmas? And I love that they use the overnight as, they kind of like stretch some of the action and the
Yeah.
drama into things that happen in the middle of the night, and that they, then go into Christmas Day.
I like that they actually have like a Christmas Day and Christmas Eve in this movie.
Yeah.
I also think with the setting of it being in Connecticut, and obviously like there's like things that are, it's definitely like a stage and it's not real, but obviously always so nostalgic for having like a snowy Christmas with lots of white backdrops. But I thought that there were a couple of moments in this movie, and like you said, if it is coming from a book, this makes sense. But like the imagery and the way that they just are describing things like sounds so poetic to me. And I think that they do a good tie-in with like having some mentions to the magazine and like things that are very, very well written and beautiful, and like trying to draw people in to like picture kind of this idealistic scene. The two of them, Jefferson and Elizabeth, are walking like with to go see the cow, and they and they're talking about like the scenery, and they say like the moonlight, the snow, and a cow. And I just thought that was so beautiful, like not as a favorite line, but just playing into like the like just imagery. Like I would have loved to read that in a book. And then there's this whole section where Yardley's like describing how Elizabeth wrote about there's no like more perfect scene than like watching a woman like flip flapjacks like in a kitchen, and it's so like well described. The magazine and her writing is obviously kind of just like a backdrop in all of this and how she got into this mess, but they like really consciously like pull some of those things in throughout the movie. Like they have, even Jefferson like reading her recipes while he's in the hospital. So I just think it's kind of a fun inclusion that they decided to do instead of just like having a magazine out on the table.
No, they used it like to the max. I felt like so many of the humorous moments came from people throughout this movie are constantly mentioning to Elizabeth, "Oh, you wrote about this." And we're like, "Oh, I remember this recipe, or you described this scene." And she's like, "You did? What?" Like she has no idea she doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know what's going on. She is so out of her element in this, picture perfect women's world.
Yeah. The influencer of 1945. The first influencer was Elizabeth
Lane. Also a great name.
Yeah, great name.
Just a couple more notes on the house itself. Gorgeous. It reminded me of, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Bringing Up Baby, but they have a kind of like a country home in that movie, and it reminded me of this. The kind of the big stones in that fireplace was, I know, kind of like comically large, but I wanted to be in that middle room so badly with the tree and the piano.
Yeah, and I think they just did a good job of like, including that she gets to decorate the tree the night before. It's just a very quaint setting. A good job of reflecting what it would be like to be in like kind of the middle of nowhere, Connecticut.
You need John Sloan to build your house for you.
Yes. He'll know all about the plumbing. I loved that idiosyncrasy,
Yes.
by the way. All the, like, background details of him and the rest of the characters was just a joy.
Yeah, I felt like they really amped up the humor with him in continually him bringing up all
Yeah.
the it not that he doesn't do this, he doesn't speak about it, but I'd say our brother-in-law Mike is really like cares about things like that, like
Yes.
good engineering and good construction. So I kept thinking of him throughout the movie.
Yeah. He would absolutely say he has said all those lines.
One last note about this being modern. I'm going to bring up a couple of the lines that I thought felt particularly modern, but the little bit where Jeff brings the rocking chair to the Connecticut house and he does this thing where he demonstrates the lazy rock where he says like, "Oh, you can rock like this or you can rock like this when you don't want to get up and you just need to get across the room." That felt like such a 2025 thing to say to make
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Like people
And
weren't
again, I
lazy
think it
then.
was just if it is from the book, like, I just feel like it's so well described instead of just, like, a throwaway line or something that's silly, like, it was very intricate and thought out, and then they were able to, like, pull back from that when she later in the movie is, like, alone at night and, like, sits in the chair and she's kind of rocking a certain way, so it was a good setup. They really incorporated the rocking chairs throughout the whole movie. Big in
Yeah.
Well, I know I hinted at this before, but I don't have as many things that I disliked as just as much as comments and questions. Was there anything like really stand out for you?
I only had one note and I'll start with it because it happens at the beginning of the movie. I didn't love how the movie started. I felt like they kind of started it in a weird place. We didn't, as much as we love seeing the scruffy sailor man, I don't feel like we needed to see any of that. And if their intended audience for this is people who love rom-coms, they should have started with Elizabeth, not
Yeah.
with Jeff.
I think because this movie was made like during the war time period, that was like a very common through line that I feel like with most movies that were coming out during this time period. But I agree. And I actually was just thinking of it's very on brand for you and I to be like, oh my God, the war scene. I don't want to be watching this. I don't care
You
about
get so
missiles.
bored.
Like, honestly, when the movie started, I was like, oh, wait, do I not like this movie? But then once they did like the fake scene of him, have like daydreaming about it, like his perfect meal, I really loved. But I'm like, can we just start with that? I don't need to see them in their ships and
Yeah.
pressing their buttons.
Yeah. You also didn't like that in White Christmas. You
Yeah.
were kind of bored by the war
Yes.
stuff. That was it. That's really all
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll piggyback on
Yeah.
some of yours.
Okay. I think I'm gonna do a quick
Okay.
almost rapid fire run through if that's okay with you, but feel free
Mhm.
to stop me. Again, not that they need to change any of these things because very important to the plot, but like Yardley is so brash about Christmas. The balls on this man, the power that this man has to be like, not only am I sending you and your family a sailor for Christmas, like, first of all, I know she's getting a bonus, but like she should get a bonus and get extra hours or just like it shouldn't just be a lump bonus. Like she should be considered working if she has to take in a sailor and him. Imagine your boss had to like come over on Christmas, or not even your boss, but like the
The
head
head
of
of the
your company
company.
that you don't know. Like if it was Dudley, I'd be like, sure, come on in. But he was very aggressive. Again, like we said, there actually wasn't that much like pushiness with marriage, but I think like they probably could have cut down on like the third time or the second time that the judge comes. I'm like, okay, we get
Yeah,
it. I'm like,
he also like but I also
yeah.
don't feel like he was super pro marriage. I think he was
Yes.
just like, "Let's get this over with so I can get back to my holidays."
Yeah, whatever he's doing. Yeah, isn't he busy? Like I think he is
He said he
supposed
was
to be.
busy. He had things to do,
Yeah,
but he
he
came
did.
back. I mean,
Yeah, he
he's
kept coming back. Yeah, I mean, John was committed to this idea. And that's kind of the other thing, or the kind of unanswered question, which would blow up the whole movie. But like, if John seems like the type of person who like as much as he like wants a companion and keeps proposing to Elizabeth, he seems like a good friend that if she had just been like, dude, can I just use your house for the week? Like, you have a house in Connecticut, you live on a farm. I gotta put on a show for my boss. What do you think? Like, I think he would have said yes. He wasn't doing anything, but again, we needed all of this for the drama. I was mildly concerned. This was really only my red flag about Jefferson. Why does he like want to watch her bathe a baby? And why does he like bathing babies? But like, he was so respectful and wonderful and like classy about it that I was like, okay, I'll forgive you for, but the can I watch you bathe a baby?
Yeah. When he said that, I was also like, "Oh, this is
Yeah,
not.
I was like, I
You
don't
can't
want to.
say this."
Yeah,
But
and then
then you're
everyone
right.
was watching. Like, they didn't know that. What was it? Yardley and John were all like, it was like a show to watch this. Maybe they didn't bathe babies a lot in 1945. I don't know what was
Maybe,
going on.
but I did like how they recovered from that pretty quickly. I
Yes.
felt like they wrote it as best they could. That he was like, "Oh no, it's not a big deal. Like I helped my sister or whatever."
I think
He
he
was just
just
a
was
little
so
too
spent with her.
enthusiastic.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was. He was, and he was like, "You don't want to disappoint me, right?" She's like, "Okay,
yeah. That was a.
down."
I didn't like that comment. No.
I would hope whoever was writing this or that decision didn't have a thing with babies and baths. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna push that aside. I'm gonna pretend not. Okay, two kind of slapsticky, really intense injury things that I'm. How did they not die when that snowbank came down? I was like, they're
Oh
dead.
yeah. That
That
was.
looks rough. I would not want to be
Yeah.
there.
They loved it
And
though. They were like, "We
they
can
were so
cuddle. It's
snuggling.
fine."
Yeah, she was knocked out. And I don't understand how no one was more concerned that the baby swallowed a full clock. Like, it was not a watch. That was a clock. That
It's like a pocket watch, right?
baby
But
number
it's like
2,
this
not Roberta. Yeah, it was a pocket watch. And everyone
Louis.
was immediately was like, "Oh yeah, no, they swallowed the watch. They'll be fine." There were so many like it really is so of the time that like babies were so
They were
totally
props. Yeah.
mad.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
gone way too much in the other direction where they're like, we need to, purify the air. There can't be dust. Like,
Yeah.
they need a 401k. Like,
Yeah.
we've gone way too in the other direction. But on the flip side, I'm happy that I was not a baby during this time period. I would not want to be washed by a sailor, and I would not want to be used for play to pretend that I swallowed a clock. So
That was really funny though to me.
oh, it was so good. The babies were a fantastic addition to the movie.
Great job,
They were
babies.
so funny. I love that the women who worked at the war factory were just coming
dropping them
in and
off.
out. They were like, Nora, take the babies. I'm out of here.
Like they had this whole system and like it's John's house and Nora works there and the ladies who work in the war plant can just drop
We
the
need
babies
more of that.
or take them when they want to bring them home and it's fine.
We've become too coy. We need to start dropping babies off at rich men's houses who aren't doing anything. I'm putting out a petition. Women need better childcare, so we need more John Sloans to take one for the team.
But I also I really felt for those women. Like
I know.
that was the only thing that made me a little sad. Like these women, not only are they working these crazy hours, but they're helping the war effort and they don't want to leave their babies with these random people, but they're doing what they have to do to
probably
survive.
also have like 18 children at home for sure. I wouldn't change one thing, but hilarious.
All great points.
All great points. I know you have some good favorite scenes.
I think I narrowed it down to 2, although I have a feeling that if you bring more up, I'll be like, oh no, I like that one too. I really liked when the cow shows up in the kitchen and that Jeff knows who it is. He's like, oh well, hello, Makushala. And she's so confused and taken aback, and there's just this cow's head hanging into the kitchen. Great use of the set and the one of those Dutch doors.
She has a very great present, like almost Lucille Ball presence in all those scenes where she like forgets who Elizabeth Lane is. Like she'll be like,
Yeah.
"Oh yes, my cow. Oh yeah, my baby." Like she like keeps forgetting, and just her, I feel like affect of how she says these things is
Yeah.
so funny.
She's fun. And then I think my other favorite scene was, sorry, this is basic, but the sleigh scene.
We like what we like. There's a reason they're keeping those types of scenes going into 2025, and I would not have it any other way.
I want to look up the script and just read that scene because the flirting was so good. They could only flirt so far, and they took it as far as they could take it.
Yeah.
And I felt like the dialogue, the exchange, the way that they were talking to each other, it felt very natural. It didn't feel like overly written. And there was one delivery when Jeff says, "Are you making fun of me?" That just felt so out of place for this time period. And it worked so well. Like that made me smile so much when he said that.
It felt like a dance or a flow in a way, because I'll give away. I really love the scene where they go to the dance hall, which is really the only other moment that we see them outside of the house together, because they're just having so much fun. And I love the dance scene in It's a Wonderful Life, but like the music, and it just made you like, as someone who sucks at dancing, like I wanted to be in that room, and I felt like they were having like such a wonderful date together. I was like, "Oh my god, they're on a date. This is so exciting." And just the way that they leave together without even
I
saying
love that.
anything. They're like, "We're going to go get some air. We're going to go sit on this horse and just pretend that we're moving." Like it was just so well executed and planned out, and we got to watch Yardley fall down a snowbank, which was so much
It
fun.
was great.
Yeah, I also love that they like when they get pulled over, she's they're like, "Are we being arrested?" She's like, "Oh, how wonderful. This is so exciting." She's like, "Great, I get more time with this yummy man."
I don't know if you clock this or not, but there's a part during the dance where she's just giggling so much and it feels so genuine. It almost seems like it may have been like an outtake. Like it was that real. So
Yes,
much joy in that scene.
I know. It was great. The other scene that's, I know we should be picking out more comedic moments, but I really love the scene where she's decorating the Christmas tree and he's singing. And the actor was a singer, so he really actually does have a good voice. The song was like "I Wish," and I feel like it's like two people with this very like unspoken bond, like back to back, and not being able to like share how they really feel. And in the spirit of the holidays, like nothing better than decorating a Christmas tree with a snow backdrop. So it's a very like quiet and beautiful scene.
That's a very Laura scene. Like I think in one of the other episodes you described the scene in Home Alone where Kevin is in the church with Old Man Marley. I think you said it's
Mm.
kind of like the
It's
softness of
not-
like of snow falling or like kind of taking that breath before we get into the action. And
Yeah,
that was like a breathing moment in
yeah,
Christmas in Connecticut.
yeah, and I feel like you don't always get those in these types of movies. So
Yeah, because it's everything else is like very snappy and moving fast. But then
yeah,
in the middle of the movie, we have this very peaceful, serene. If even though the other people are in the house, it really feels like it's just the two of them
yeah,
alone. Like
yes,
in their minds, it's just they only see each other. And it's also design wise, the way that he's sitting at the piano and that she's kind of like up on a ladder is just it's a beautiful configuration. It's a great
yeah.
snapshot.
And it's almost like the breaking of the ornament like breaks the moment. She's like, "Oh
Yeah.
shit. All right, we're
Yeah.
not dating, we're not married." But yeah, I'm like, wow, is there anything else that they just want to throw about this man and making him such a perfect person? Like he just casually is playing this most romantic song on the piano right now. Is there any more shit we can pile? I think a lot of my favorite moments were just with Felix. I loved the decision to teach him the word catastrophic and just use it throughout the whole movie because he's like excited that he knows this word, but he can't, he says like catastrophe, like he just keeps saying it incorrectly. And I've hinted at this, but there are a lot of Yardley moments that I think are very on brand for the two of us and what we would say. So his cook, when we first meet him at his house, she's going through like his Christmas menu based on what the doctor says he can eat, and she's talking about whipped turnips and a couple other things, and he calls them barbaric atrocities. He's like, these are barbaric atrocities. There's no way in hell that I'm eating whipped turnips on Christmas Eve. He keeps using the word circulation throughout the whole movie. He's like, this baby cannot die, like it will ruin my circulation. And I also love when he thinks that the baby's missing and he just picks up the phone and immediately says, the police, the state trooper, the FBI. Like he's so important that he needs every police force.
Yes.
Yeah, and just some other Felix lines. I love that he says, like, I hate horses. Like when he gets angry about stuff, but he's so soft, Elizabeth.
Is he the one who says, I hate the country, I hate horses, and the cows don't like me either?
He goes, the cows don't like me. But then later on, she tells Elizabeth's describing like their romantic moment in the barn. And he's like, I like cows now. We're cool. But yeah, and then Elizabeth has some great lines. And you don't know what a mink coat like does to a woman. And she just has these very like romantic sayings that I think have aged very well.
I also, the whole storyline, I think, with Alexander Yardley and the baby going missing, my line that I wrote down that I was dying at is when he's reporting the stolen baby and they're asking him to describe it, he says, it has blonde hair and teeth. And then he's like, oh no, it doesn't. Because he remembers the baby switch.
Yeah.
He still doesn't understand what happened, but he was so fixated on knowing that this baby has blonde hair and teeth. But then the other baby, Roberta, gets swapped back in. And
Roberta. What a baby.
Amazing. I also like this line that Nora said at the end when she says, I've never flipped in my life and I'm not about to start flipping now. This is much more of a Felix pronunciation thing. But I love when the nurse, Mary, comes back at the end and he's now getting very invested in learning that he thinks that Jeff and Mary are engaged. Then I guess at some point that she tells him that she married his friend. And I think he says, who is this Sinky?
I know. Oh my gosh. His reactions are top notch.
Yeah.
Well, I think our food section is going to be pretty long today. We could create multiple menus. I will say I love like the magazines of this time period, and like the food looks so fake, but it's going by like old cookbooks like of this time period because they're just so ridiculous. But we kind of immediately start off with a food moment with Jefferson's like daydream about what he's going to eat, and then I love the description of him rattling off like what his dream meal would be: a juicy steak, asparagus with hollandaise sauce, chocolate cake and ice cream. And I'm like, same. I think I would add all of those to what I would want to eat if I was stranded on a boat. I love like the comfort of the mushroom omelet. Like that seems like something that Felix probably cooks for her a lot. Lots of martinis when they're sitting at the bar. And I think that my favorite like food moment and like what it kind of made me want to eat was the late night chicken in the kitchen. I loved that scene. And I just love the description of it. Just kind of gross, but Yardley's like, oh, I love a cold chicken. I would absolutely not want this movie not to be in black and white, but I feel like we miss out on like the visuals that could come of this having so many good food moments. And also flapjacks. I mean, can we just go back to calling pancakes flapjacks? Because feels right.
Yeah. Typically, when I watch movies for the podcast, I try to spot and write down every food instance I can find. And I think 5 minutes into this movie, I had to stop because it was like they were just rattling off. Like once they flipped to the first her Elizabeth's first magazine dinner menu, I was like, I'm overwhelmed. I can't write down every little thing. But there's one thing I definitely did not want to eat that was shown at the beginning, and it's when Jefferson is first in the hospital and Mary's trying to nurse him back to health, and she serves him a cup of milk with an egg in it. No.
Jail. That's grounds for jail. Can't we just give him broth or like
Yeah.
water or jello? Why that? I guess
I
because
don't
it has
know.
like protein in it,
It's like
but
it
he didn't need it.
feels like a very
He was like, I'm going
old.
to bed. Enough
Yeah.
with this.
The food, I think, is the thing that dates this movie the most. A
Yeah.
lot of food things that we don't eat anymore. But there were also 3, I don't know if, I guess more old-fashioned, but old-fashioned in movie things that I love, that I would love to integrate more into our real life. And I'll work backwards, Laura, because you already mentioned one of them, and that is just this concept of the late midnight snack in the kitchen. I love this in movies and in real life, but there's just this idea of the house is quiet and most everyone is like tucked away for bed, and a character or two or a person or two get hungry and meet in the kitchen and end up having this great conversation. And somehow the food tastes yummier. And I love that they paired the cold chicken with a bottle of wine. That scene was chef's kiss.
That's like always been my dream, to like have rooms that guests can stay over for the holidays, and like cooking up like, or even just like a gathering and cooking up a lot of food, and then there being leftovers and people being like hungry late at night, maybe after like going out, and like just sitting in the kitchen and having like, for some reason I think there's a casualness to that type of environment where people's like guard is let down, and it's usually two people like having this really
It's an intimate thing. Yeah.
intimate conversation. Yeah.
And then the other two kind of old timey movie things that I really loved is this concept of after dinner. I mean, when we're seeing this in movies, it's always more of like a man's thing, like the men go into another room and have an after dinner cordial and play a game or smoke a cigar. But I was trying to think about when I have dinner with people, and most of my interactions now of having dinner with people are either with mom and dad or with Jimmy's parents. And a lot of the times it's we have dinner and then everyone goes sits on the couch and like maybe we'll watch a movie, but we're all on our phones. And I love this idea of having this designated space and ritual to do something immediately after dinner where we're still interacting with each other and we're still giving each other our full attention. No phones, whether it's a cordial or tea or coffee or something else, and then a little activity like a game.
Yeah.
I feel like we need this.
We need this. Let's do it. We're bringing it back.
And then this is much more of a movie and even stage thing, but there were a lot of trays and domed coverings over plates in this movie, and you just don't really see very much of that in real life.
Yeah. I feel like and again, it's probably my Instagram algorithm, but there's been a lot of like silverware and new like objects to serve food on that I feel like I'm now being reintroduced to, or like just platters and like ways to serve. Like a big thing this year I feel like has been like serving ice cream and more of those like cups. I don't know what they're called, but they like can retain the temperature better instead of just like an ice cream bowl.
Like an ember mug, but for ice cream that keeps it
But
cold.
it's definitely the chefs out there. I'm gonna chop my head off, but there's probably called something. But they kind of look like a martini glass.
Okay.
And as we're starting to prepare for Christmas Eve, I'm like, I feel like I have to buy those. I saw a recipe for like an individual baked Alaska, but it's just like ice cream and then like a meringue over it, and then you get a blowtorch. And I'm like, okay, so in a week I need to buy a blowtorch and I have to buy these coldsware. I need to buy some cold martini glasses. So we'll see.
I support this decision.
I may need to save it for when I actually have my own place to host people at, but now, I don't know if I can store these martini glasses.
If I'm ever staying at your house and I want a midnight snack, am I allowed to use the blowtorch?
You know, like in guest rooms where people like leave out a book. Like I'm like, okay, the blowtorch is in the bedside drawer if you need it. Meringue's in the fridge. Blowtorch is in the bedside drawer.
But yeah, what I craved, flapjacks and bacon, sound fantastic. There's something about, I don't know if there is a difference in a recipe for a flapjack versus a pancake, but I just picture them being bigger and fluffier.
Yeah, probably shouldn't be eating like pancakes for breakfast, especially with like chocolate chips in it. But like I always just think about the scene in The Parent Trap where Chessie makes that chocolate chip pancake. It's just always in my mind. I'm like, I need this breakfast.
And she doesn't even eat it.
And she
eats the toast, the bite of toast. Travesty.
We're still mentioning it. We're still upset.
I think that's it. And also you mentioned the martinis. I'm very fascinated by the evolution of drinkware, and that how I think when we think of this time, we think of more people being alcoholics or drinking a lot, but man, they really would have to drink a lot of those to get drunk, right? Because the martini glasses were so teeny tiny.
You don't need a lot. Yeah, I mean, I actually really liked the scene where they're at Felix's restaurant. They're all drinking I think it's at Felix's restaurant.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're drinking the martinis. It just kind of reminds me also of like the scene from The Apartment, where he's like lining up all his toothpicks that he used for the martinis. Okay. Do you want to pick the location for our dinner party this week?
Okay. Options. Felix's restaurant, Elizabeth's office / we think that's like really her apartment, right?
Yeah. I like Elizabeth's apartment.
Yeah.
She has plenty of chairs.
Yep. Oh yeah, everyone gets a rocking chair.
Everyone gets a rocking chair. And I feel like it's a cozy apartment party for the holidays. Like it's her holiday party.
Perfect.
I have been very well prepared with my guests because I'm really leaning into using animals this season. So I'm giving you Makusha, the cow. Baby number 1, Roberta.
Okay.
And we never meet her, but Dudley's wife.
Wow. Okay. I can do this. And I'm going to give you the nurse, Mary Lee, who we didn't really talk about her much, but I love that.
I love Mary Lee.
She was such a sweetheart. And I think in a lot of other movies, they would have written her to be bad. Like they would have painted her in a bad light. Like that she was really man hungry or manipulative. And she was none of those things. She really felt like she had a pure heart.
Yes.
Team Mary. Okay. So Mary, and there was a person who appeared very briefly, who only had a couple lines, but he had a fantastic name, Homer Higginbottom, who was in charge of the entertainment at the party / dance that they go to. Oh, that man.
Kind man. He loves his sailors. Yes. He's like, come on down. You get in here.
I'll give you your pick. Would you rather have the judge, the enthusiastic judge, or Nora?
I think Nora would balance out, like, because we have like a lot of like kind and sweet souls. Like we need someone who's like a little bit jaded and a little bit like stuck in her ways too. She also needs this party. I feel like she needs a night off. She deserves to kick her heels up on a rocking chair. I think the judge has other weddings to attend to, so we'll let him off the hook. And he's also annoying. I can start. I think that Nurse Mary Lee, because she's so sweet, I think that she is really good at making desserts. If she wasn't a nurse, she could almost own her own bakery or like dessert shop. And it's the way that she like takes the edge off from caring for, people in the war after a long day. I think that she's making a chocolate mousse dessert with some whipped cream and cherries and a pie. I think maybe like a cherry pie. It just feels like of the season. She's like, oh, the cherry pie reminds me of Christmas because it's very red. And everyone's like, oh, Mary Lee, you are so wonderful and sweet. I think that Homer, because he's like so excited about like holiday parties, I feel he's like the head of the committee, right? Like
Yeah.
he feels very responsible for like the decoration. So I think he offers to like come over early to Elizabeth's and is like, I'm going to bring garland. We're going to dress up the chairs. I'm going to bring candles. I'm going to bring tablecloths. He feels like very, he wants to create a setting for everyone so everyone feels comfortable. I also think that he's going to bring a couple records over of his selection. So I think he's going to start a little bit with like some Nat King Cole and work his way up to like whatever the Wham was of this time period. I think that's what we're working towards. And I think that he is going to bring a punch bowl because I know for listeners, we've probably brought this up on previous Christmas seasons, but every year we do like a big Christmas party with our cousins and our aunts and uncles on my mom's side of the family. And Michelle and our sister Lisa are always responsible for the punch bowl. So Michelle's going to let.
Mostly Lisa. I'm mostly like enthusiastic about drinking the punch.
She pours the champagne in. He's going to show up with like a vintage punch bowl that was his grandmother's, and it's been like in the what's his last name?
Higginbottom.
In the Higginbottom family for centuries. So
yes,
he knows that there's no party without a punch bowl. So he's more on like decor, and he's like the vibe coordinator of Elizabeth Lane's party. And lastly, Nora. Well, she's a chef, but I could see her being like, oh, it's my day off. And I'm not going to go too crazy. But I think maybe she'll make like I think we've done this on a previous season, but almost like individual like meat pies.
Oh,
where
yeah.
like they're almost like cups. So she's like, I'll bring some appetizers. I don't want to be responsible for the roast or like, the vegetables. Like she just wants to kind of put some things in some muffin cups and take the day off. And I think she's going to bring some liquor to spike the punch because she's had enough of entertaining at the Christmas house.
All right, I'm going to start with my human, Dudley's wife. Because there seems to be a lot of concern on her end about Dudley getting this, not getting fired. It seems like maybe finances are a hot button issue between them. She seems like someone to me who would be one of these people who are really creative when it comes to using food. Like mom is really good at this, like using all the pieces of food to make something that tastes really good. So I'm thinking that she's going to bring a casserole.
Okay.
Maybe something that has noodles in it and cut up ham and peas, using things that she made all week and now she has all these leftover ingredients, but she's able to whip this up into like a really tasty, because she's done this before, nice substantial casserole for the whole party. I think she's very no nonsense. She'll bring that and she'll bring some paper goods, but I don't know. I think that she's really there out of obligation. She's kind of like, Dudley, why are you making me do this?
Everyone's stressed about the amount of holiday engagements they have to go to, the scheduling, and I think that she's not having it. And they also live in the suburbs. She's like, go into the city.
Yeah.
She's not happy about this. I think she'll change her mind when she meets Homer Higginbottom.
I think so too. He's going to get to her.
He's going to like the vibes.
All right. Makushla, I get the
He's gonna need
vibe
3
that
chairs.
do we think it's a he, she, they?
I think we don't it doesn't matter.
Okay,
She's the cow.
the
She's the
cow.
cow. Yeah.
Makushla
Kushla, like
seems like the kind of cow to me that would be very they seem very chill.
yeah.
Like you know, it shows up and they're like, do you have any allergy restrictions or anything? And it's very like, no, I'll eat anything.
Yeah.
I'll eat the leftovers. I'll eat I'll drink the drinks. Like I think Makushla is more there as a consumer than a
Yes.
provider. I'm trying to think if it had to make something. I mean, I guess it does have access to Elizabeth's kitchen or to John Sloan's kitchen.
I don't think she can make anything. She would have to use her mouth. It'd be too difficult.
It'll be like, you know what?
Just
Does anyone need milk?
yes. She's like, 2 brought cookies. We've got the milk right here.
I think that has to be it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Milk
Hey,
on demand.
you know what?
If anyone forgot
We're
a milk related
yeah.
ingredient,
We're bringing the country to the city.
yes. Yes.
I could also see her being like a good, like, I know this is kind of messed up because she's like, people are using me, but like a good prop is like, instead of having like a step and repeat or like a backdrop, like everyone's like taking pictures of the cow. Like she's
Just
like
stringing lights around her neck.
she's like Santa. She's like the Santa of the group. Oh, this
She
poor
seems
cow.
like chill though, so I
It
think
does.
whatever. Yeah.
What a great person. Great cow.
All right. And I think Roberta, on the other hand, she seemed like she had a little attitude. She seems like someone the opposite of Makushla, who's like, doesn't like anything, is really picky, is judging.
Just picturing Makushla and Roberta showing up together, and Roberta like has her on like the like with
The
the bell.
rain.
He's like, "We're here." She has like the rope. Yeah.
Even though she's a baby who doesn't really have teeth yet, I'm
Does
imagining those teething cookies. Like she's really into those. So she has her poor mom who's already working nights at the war factory. She has her make like a huge batch of the teething cookies and she brings them in a Tupperware and
There's no
puts
mercy.
them on and
Well, it's perfect. Cookies and
yeah.
milk. She's like, we set up
Yes.
together. We're a team. She called Makushla before. She's like, I got the teeth and cookies. Bring
You
yourself.
get the milk.
Yes.
Bring yourself.
This is a great duo. I actually love this spin-off story.
Well done, Laura. They're from the same
Roberta
town. They know each other. They hang
The
out all day.
Adventures of Roberta and Makushla.
Yes. All
Oh,
right. Well, that
this
was an
party could
interesting
get
one.
weird. It could get crazy.
They're rocking chairs. The cow can't use it.
Yeah,
It's weird.
I feel like Nora's mixing milk and with like different liquors. She's making like a hot chocolate, but with liquor. So
And I'm imagining maybe Elizabeth and Jeff are out somewhere together and they come home to this.
yes,
They're like, oh,
but they're so excited.
yeah.
They just jump right in. I feel like they would be drunk. They would like have
Yeah.
a bunch of
Definitely.
martinis to go home
Yeah.
to this.
A bunch of tiny
Wow.
martinis.
Final this or that. I'll be in the hot seat first. I'll do it.
Okay. What would you rather buy yourself with your Christmas bonus that you haven't really gotten yet? A fur coat or a rocking chair?
I'm not big into rocking chairs. I like a chair, but like a cozy chair. But rocking chairs don't seem comfortable.
They're very hard.
I'm not a rocking person. I'm more of a stiff sitter. So I also had the exact same question, which is really impressive.
Exactly. Like
exact. So impressed by us.
All right. Let's see if you get this one. Would you rather share a bedroom with a cow or 2 babies that you don't know?
Probably the cow.
I was thinking the same thing.
I feel like she would be super chill and sleep. And the babies, I would have to like bathe and, do all the things.
They cried, yeah.
And they're not mine.
It's a serious one. Would you rather be caught for being unqualified at your job or stealing a sleigh?
Stealing a sleigh. The unqualified thing is just so much emotional baggage attached to it. It
Yes.
can ruin everything. Stealing a sleigh, I'm like, oh, I get to spend the night in jail. This is a great story.
Yes.
I'll use it for my job. I'll start a new column about thinking outside of the box.
Sled theft.
Blood theft, yes.
Okay. Pick an after dinner activity: brandy and dominoes or a midnight snack and chat in the kitchen.
Definitely the midnight snack. But like the brandy and dominoes sounds like such a cozy scene, like by the fire.
Okay. Last one. Would you rather eat sardines for breakfast or flip a flapjack in front of an audience?
I do like sardines, and I'd probably make it into some like fun toast, but I think I'd rather flip a flapjack. I wouldn't be embarrassed.
I think you could do it.
Yeah. Okay, pick your home cook, Felix or Nora.
Felix. And my best friend.
Yes, best friends. Okay, would you rather be stranded on a boat for 15 days? No food. Well, I think they alluded to that they had like baby food or something gross. Or would you rather get hit by that large snowbank?
Oh, I hit by the snowbank.
Ugh, so surprising.
I
Seeing
mean,
olds.
I know, but like if you're with Jeff,
Yeah.
they had a
Snuggling.
moment. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Would you rather bathe Roberta in front of Jefferson or flip a flapjack in front of an audience?
Definitely flip a flapjack.
I think that we should make flapjacks together when you're home. This feels
I
right.
would love that.
Okay. Would you rather, this is a serious one, would you rather marry John Sloan and be married to him for the rest of your life or work for Yardley for the rest of your life? Like no job switch.
Oh, God. Am I getting the bonus?
Yeah, you'll get some bonuses. You'll get bonuses.
I think you work for Yardley.
Yeah.
I was a little bit swayed by the house.
Yeah.
Like that would be a nice house to live in forever, but John is like he's not, it's exactly what she says. I'm just not in love with him.
Yeah. I think I would marry Sloan because I think they have, if I was Elizabeth, I feel like they have the baseline of the like understanding that she would be like, okay,
Like an open marriage.
We're companions, but like I'm gonna have a lover. I feel like he would be okay with her dating Jefferson.
Yeah.
I think I could convince him to let me have a separate relationship of love.
Yeah.
And still be able to live with him in the house and like give him play dominoes with him. He has plumbing to tend to.
Yeah. I think that really is his true love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He almost had a column until Elizabeth blew it. So
I know. I was kind of getting excited for him. I was like, this is a great opportunity.
I like to believe that Yardley, they all made up at the end. I think that Yardley still held true to that.
I think so too.
Yeah. We love you, John. All right. Well, everyone enjoy your holidays. We will be back when we'll be back.
We're going to be back soon, and we're going to be talking about let this be a transition movie for more romance movies to come.
Yes.
In our next season. And if you have any requests, suggestions, let us know. All right. We'll see you then.
See you then.